Join me as you and I and you take a journey to become better writers together and geek out. Hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Written Writ Ralph talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ. Right to our side over here, we have Dennis Knight. On the bottom, Matt and Roaming Tony.
Hey.
And Dennis has come back to the show to have some fun and talk about his new crowdfunder, which is, what is it, Strange
World Comics.
There you go, Strange World Comics. I was thinking Strange New Comics.
That happened to me a couple of times too.
Okay, it's not. At least it's not just me.
No, it's not just you. No.
So right off the bat, what made you decide to go with crowdfunder? I know Mark Torres went in that direction, and he was really happy with it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really my decision. It was Jeff Strange. Jeff Strange, he's the head, like the mastermind behind Strange World Comics.
Mm-hmm.
He was researching, Kickstarter, all the the run of the mill crowdfunding apps. For some reason, Kickstarter, I think people trust it more, but it's so hard. It's like a full-time job. If you don't reach your goal, you don't get any money. So that kind of scared him off. It was like, no, this is my first project. I don't want to not fund it, and then I can't do anything with it.
Right.
So he went to crowdfunder and says, well, crowdfunder is a little more new. It's a little more flexible as far as your goals and stuff like that. So he decided to go with crowdfunder. So far so good. We have a couple of backers, so I'm happy about that. I mean, we're still still pushing, promoting, marketing. Please, donate, back support, all that fun stuff. But I really, really hope that people get behind this project because it is something that's near and dear to Jeff's heart. He's been a lifelong comic book fan. He loves comic books, and he grew up in Brooklyn. So it's really important for him to have something for the kids that represents themselves. So inner city youth, minorities, all ethnic groups, all ethnicities. It is really, really important to him to have them represented in a nice light. So I actually met Jeff a couple of years ago at, I want to say, Brooklyn Comic Con. Shout out to JD Rosario. Hope everything's well with him because he's actually kind of helped organize the show. And I think I spoke with him a couple of times.
Right.
And also shout out to Ray Ravello because I think I shared the table with him at the Comic Con. It was, I think, 2019. It was the last comic
before the pandemic, right?
Huh?
Before the pandemic.
Right, but it's I think maybe the week before. Everything shut down. It was the very last con. The con down, Kobe Bryant passed away in the helicopter crash.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the same thing with what happened. We were there at PowerCon when the whole thing happened, and I still remember that. That's still clear in my head.
Right.
You're there, and all of a sudden everybody's talking about that, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, because the room went silent. Everybody's checking the phones. They got the news, and you can hear a pin drop.
Jeff is saying, can't wait. What? And he's also like, thank you so much.
It was crazy. So Jeff, he came by the table and he actually bought some merchandise for me. And he said, man, I really love comic books. I want to have this idea for my own comic book, but I'm not quite sure how to start.
Right.
So I gave him my card. I said, hey man, here's my card. Give me a call. I give out cards all the time. People rarely, rarely use them. Jeff Strange called me at least a week later. He's like, hey man, you have some free time. I wanted to meet with you about this comic book, this idea, blah, blah, this is third. I'm like, cool. So we meet up. He tells me his idea, and it's actually pretty dope. Basically, what he wanted to do, an all-ages superhero comic book about a teenage boy who gets superpowers from an ancient artifact he finds in a museum on a field trip.
Right.
And it gives him superpowers. And he decides to be a crime fighter. So I had a lot of fun writing that. The art that you see is Anthony Cruz. He drew all that stuff. So shout out to Anthony Cruz. And the letters are done by Travis Ware, who's based in, I think, Georgia. He's a really good guy. Lots of experience. I had a lot of fun work with these guys. I'm really looking forward to the next installment that we make. And it's just a really fun, it's just one of those feel-good stories. It gives me Spider-Man vibes because he's a young kid. He wants to do the right thing. And he's kind of trying to find his way. He has these superpowers. He's trying to figure things out. That's what I liked about Spider-Man because Spider-Man had this awkward teenage. He's an awkward teenager, but yet he's a superhero and he saves families all the time.
Right.
But he has to remember to do his homework. He has to remember to bring home the milk. So he has all these teen problems and he's dealing with all his massive responsibilities. So that's why I really like this story because it kind of reminds me of that.
It's pretty good. I like the classic idea of you go somewhere, you find something, or something happens to you, and you get superpowers because it's the classic superhero trope.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people like it. It's familiar. People can like they kind of like do this suspension of disbelief. Like, oh well, that could happen to anybody. So it like makes it more believable. I mean, I had a lot of fun writing it. We had a lot of meetings and powwows about like the direction of the story, like the first installment. So issue zero is important to us because it kind of like lays the groundwork for like the arc that we have in mind for the story. And shout out to Anthony because he came up. I had some design ideas, but this is Anthony's design for the most part. Jeff Strange. He also has some input,
Right.
but really happy with like the final product because it gives me like Moon Knight vibes kind of, which I like.
It does. It has a very moon-like feeling to it.
It looks great. Really happy with the artwork. I mean, happy with everything overall. Like the overall process. I mean, it took a long time because of COVID and all these other like obstacles. Like people like job situations, stuff like that. But when we finally got it together, the team got back together, started working on it. It was like all steam ahead. Yeah, this is all Anthony Cruz right here. Like all this artwork. The letters are Travis Ware. Very simple but very very strong style, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, I always like some nice words popping up on my screen.
That's the best thing to do. That's the way to do it, man. I always love spelling out sound effects. That's the best part of the job.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the little promotional art that he did. I've been sharing this like crazy. Like every time I I have TikTok, I have Instagram, so I'll share it every once in a while. Let people know that we're working on things. Like we're making progress. And like, people are really excited about it, which like is good news for me because it's like nobody wants to make a comic book that nobody cares about. So you want to like hear the people like really excited for it and they're waiting for it. So hopefully, the excitement stays there once it goes to print.
Right. Makes sense to me. I also felt like the fact that with crowdfunder, which is one of the good things about it, it's you can build the money. You can build the money for the book.
Exactly.
You get to keep the money for the book. Person gets to get the book. It's more like pre-ordering the book.
Exactly, which is I think it takes the pressure off too because the Kickstarter is like, oh my god, I have to make this amount or I don't get anything. And that's a lot of pressure for somebody, especially that first project. I was jump out the window. It's too much for me. I can't do it.
Hey Jeff, if you're out there and if you want to come in here, you're more than invited to come in and talk with us. It looks like you guys really built something together here. It does have that feeling of that classic superhero trope comic book. Like you were saying, a nice Spider-Man feel to it. Just tell me where to send a link, Jeff, and I'll let you in.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
The more we get the word out about the story, the more it benefits us and then the people who will be interested in it. You know what I mean? Because we worked really, really hard on this. Blood, sweat, and tears, like working like late at night because we all have day jobs. We're all trying to work. We're all trying to pay our bills. And we're still like trying to find time to like put this together on top of that. So it's a lot of work.
Here's a question for you, because I know you worked with Pronto. How is this different than how Pronto would do things?
The difference I would say is Jeff. He's not. I don't want to say inexperienced. It's just like he's very new to the industry. So he's like very very eager to learn. So like he picks my brain about a lot of things, behind the scenes. Like what do you think about what do you think about printers? Like what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of his own research. Like he brings stuff to the table. Hey guys, I found this class about web comics. So what do you guys think about this? Like he's very very like go team go, gets everybody involved, and just he doesn't like say I'm the boss. This is what I'm saying. He like gets everybody's opinion. Okay, what do you guys think about this? It's more of a team effort.
Right.
As opposed to I'm the boss, you do what I say, this is my comic book, which I prefer because it's like once you can't work with somebody like that. Somebody who doesn't have like any, what's the word? Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. I'm a writer. I like blanking the word.
Well, it happens to me all the time. So I'm happy. Like every time I run into a writer and they have the same issue, I'm like, okay, so it's not me getting old, it's not me having Alzheimer's.
But you know what I mean? You know the guys in the industry like this, like My Way or the Highway, or like they're impossible to work with, or like they have a vision, but it's only their vision and that's it. People like that, I refuse. I can't work with them. I'd rather drop the project and go somewhere else.
I have to admit, it's so much easier when people want to work with you, when they want to form a team, and do things that way, because the other way it gets kind of weird sometimes. because it's my way or the highway. And then
like one train of thought. I'm trying to think of what the word is you're looking for.
See, it's not just me.
Yeah,
it's going around. It's going around. I'm sorry, guys. It's contagious. It's going around now.
All right, Jeff. I sent you the link to your Instagram.
Single-minded, maybe.
Oh, great! You're talking to him now. Awesome, perfect. Hopefully, you can join us.
All right, cool. Like single-minded is, I think.
Single-minded might work. Yeah. Single-minded.
It's on the right track, but I think there's something else. I just can't remember the word.
I think it's so funny because what we do as writers is we remember the definition
and then not the word.
Exactly.
Yep. Every day of my life. Closed-minded. That's the word.
Closed-minded. There you go.
200 points for Dennis.
Come and get involved to the mystery.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like it's very. I think team dynamics is very important, especially with a creative team, because it's like a creative team is just like a rock band. You can't have just one star. You can't have a diva. Everybody has to participate. Everybody has to like pull their own weight to make it successful, make it like make it worth the while. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And one of the things it's funny because until I read Dirk Manning's book called Right or Wrong, I didn't realize how important the relationship is between the writer and the artist. To me, before it was just like you hire somebody and they do it.
Yeah,
that's as far as I was
having a perfect stranger in your brain and enjoying it exactly how you wanted it. That's what a writer and artist do, man. It's like that relationship is so dynamic, it's so important. It's like if the artist doesn't like you, the artist doesn't get you, the project's probably not gonna go well.
Right. I completely agree. And then I figured, like, once I read the book and once I read that part, it's funny because I felt like I knew it, but at the same time, I needed somebody to show it to me.
Right, sure.
Yeah, because I had worked with 2 or 3 different artists before to work on the comic I was working on.
Yeah.
And it all flopped, but that was because I realized later on the relationship with them wasn't there. Right. I had just hired these guys to do the job. There was no relationship.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, man. Like there's no bonding. If you guys don't go out to dinner once in a while, just like shoot the breeze, just like bounce around ideas, it's probably not going to work. Because the artist has to respect you as an artist yourself to work with you. Because it's like me personally is like I'm not saying I'm like the hottest guy in the world. I'm not the best writer in the world, but it's like I've been around the block a couple of times. I know my stuff.
Right.
So it's like if I don't respect you, then I don't want to work with you because why would I? Hey, look, Jeff Strange, just talking about you. He's a terrible person. Don't hang out with him.
So, Jeff, I've been reading up your stuff, and I've been reading what your goal and your mission was. And Dennis has been telling us a little bit about it as well. But I think it's always better to hear it from the source. Go ahead, Jeff. Tell us where all this came from.
Well, one day I was working at a job as a fire safety director, security, and it was, what you think it is, kind of boring. Wasn't nothing really going on. And I think this was 2006, 2000. I know is the beginning of the Obama years.
Right.
And, idle mind is a devil's playground. So I have to occupy my mind because it was basically like I could just sit there for hours, like, the morning rush. And after the morning rush is over, it's like nothing.
Right.
So I'm like, can't read anything. The superintendent, who was an Obama hater, he got mad because I was playing the inauguration speech when Obama got elected. And the students that were around were listening in.
Right.
So, he said, I was like, dude, this is kind of history, but this is a guy that has 4 cars and still live with his mama and past 50 years old. So you can understand the hate. So, he just took the radio away, so it left me to start creating. So I always wanted to do a comic book. I can draw, but I'm not comic book level.
Right.
So I can get the concept down. I mean, I've, in art class, I've, copied, at the time, I'm always a Batman fan, Luke Cage fan. But at that time, I was a big Green Lantern fan, especially Hal Jordan. And, Jesus Christ, my man. I don't want to say the black one, but
John Stewart.
Thank
you,
John
Stewart. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're the
the
Buccaneers.
black one. You know that guy.
You're the black one, the Black Green Lantern.
Nah,
I have plenty of
with a
black
bunch
friends.
You're with a bunch of nerds. We got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I feel at home. I know I'm with a bunch of nerds. So I'm in a room full of comic book nerds, so I'm like, yes. And Ralph, I love the intro. I'm a voiceover artist myself. He said, like, and we'll talk to Strange World Comics. I was like, my man, thank you.
I appreciate that. I saw it on your thing that you. I was like, oh, he's one of mine. Okay, come on.
So in creating these comic books, and I kept hearing about how people, were griping and crying about not a lot of representation. And I always felt that was important because, I mean, I'm from Brooklyn. I can say hi, hello, and thank you in 5 different languages just in a 4-block radius of my neighborhood from the different restaurants, stores, and everything else.
Sounds about right.
So, I mean, why not have that kind of representation? And then, I sat on it. That's like I said, 2006, 2008. Didn't really have a push to do it. Fast forward, Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, and all these other art, all this stuff is just coming out. And I'm like, yo, this is so dope. And I already have, I've had one character go to a web comic book, but the guy was I want to say he's a school teacher with a web comic, but he's no longer a factor. I mean, his team was called the Justice Legion Extreme.
The Justice Legion Extreme, the JLX.
I said, dude, you really want to get sued?
Yeah, listen, DC come for him right now.
I was like, you really want to get sued? And
that's playing with fire there.
Yeah, and half the team all had sun powers.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So here I come with a character I have called Hardcase. Hardcase, he basically has the same type of powers as Taskmaster. He can see whatever he sees, he can do. But I gave him a hard edge street story to make it relatable to some people. He's a tough kid on the street. Parents were, involved in crimes, but they're taken away. He went into the system, blah, 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 and then he finds his way back to do something righteous. Everybody loves the tragedy triumph. So when I brought that to him, he's like, well, what is his occupation now? And I said, well, I made him a private investigator because he wants to find out who murdered his parents and his friend that mentored him.
Right.
The first thing he said was, well, why don't we make him a doctor so he can help people?
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that's great for the Cosby Show where we're talking some real life. Like I want a kid to pick up this comic. They'll probably be attracted to that gritty side, but we're not going to focus on that gritty side. That's his beginnings. We're here in the now and his path to being a hero. Right. That's where I want to go with it. So, I mean, he put him in one issue and, not a lot of people didn't respond to it because, he softened him up. And I was like,
right.
Can we go with my original like this? And then he just turned rabbit on me and it was like, yeah, and if you use my character, I said, oh, first of all, my character, copywritten, stop playing with me. And even back then I had already Poor Man copyrighted it. Then I went the regular route and copywritten it.
It's funny you say all this because Dennis and I were just talking about the fact that how important that relationship is with whoever you're doing business with, but at the same time, especially in the comics, because it's I like the way Dennis said it. This is somebody you're putting into your head. Yeah.
So I mean, I wanted something that people can gravitate towards, and that's like something in that character you identify with. As a kid, Batman was the character. What would Batman do in this situation when you're faced with a bullet? Luke Cage was the first black man I saw in a comic book. So that's where I identify with him.
Yeah.
He was talking like in the streets, in the comic book, but he was also kicking a whole lot of ass at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, great character.
And
so also, it's that 1970s PI.
I mean, it really fit the
it's all that
mold.
stuff.
Yeah,
The famous Luke Cage asked to Dr. Doom, "Where's my money, honey?"
That's the best
Exactly.
issue, man. That cracks me up. That still cracks me up to this
and
day.
I had bought that there.
Yeah, you were even at the meeting,
At
but
Power
you
Con.
fake, right? I was like, no, that's real.
It was like $20 or something like that. It was like this ridiculous amount of like $20, something like that. It was crazy.
So, from then on, when Dennis and I, connected after that, we were, throwing ideas back and forth. And like you said, I'm not trying to come in and say, this is my comic, you won't listen to me. No, I'm not trying to do that.
I feel like you learned that lesson from that other guy.
Oh, yeah, I just left him in the dust. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, there was a lesson learned. I'm like, I'm not doing what you do. I'm going to work as a team.
Yeah, because I'm like, because even now, I still continually hear stories about how, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, they collaborated, but
that was an ugly lawsuit. Went on for years, man.
Yeah, and it's like, the family's still bitter at that,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't.
You don't want that. That's just nobody wants that kind of horror story, because like this is the working relationship is so important, because it's like Jeff Strange, he trusts me a lot because he had this idea, he had these characters. Said, listen, I know you're a writer, do something with it. So I'm like, it's a little bit of pressure, because like these are not my characters, this is not my story, this is his story.
Right.
So if I mess it up, I look like a jackass. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. So like I put a lot of care into it, because it's like this is his first project. I don't want it to be his last project. I want him to be like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like, want him to give up. I want him to like get excited. Want him to get encouraged to do more.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm always coming up with characters all the time.
And I understand exactly where you're coming from, Dennis, because I've actually worked with a couple of people in a couple of comics that were supposed to come out, and they were like, "Oh, I'm an artist. You're a writer, Ralph. You write what you write, and then we'll do something." And then you give the person the stuff, and the person goes, "No, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted."
Yeah, man, that's like my biggest fear. Like, it's terrible, and you just want to join the circus, and you just quit.
It's like, dude, I didn't have pink shorts on him. Why does he have pink?
Exactly.
See, at least
that's my biggest
when
fear.
the guy was talking to me, it was about stuff like the stuff that he actually put into it. I'm like, I put all that stuff into it, still there. But I want to be more prominent. I'm like, but it doesn't work the way you have.
Right.
Yeah, and to Dennis's credit, he listened to my ideas, and him being a comic book fan and a writer, he put himself into it and just structured, the character. I'm sitting like, dude, get out of my head. You're saying exactly what I want.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's really important to me, man. Is I want you to be happy with it, and I wanted you to be proud of it.
And thank you,
man. Myself to make
from the bottom of my heart, thank you, brother, because I can't be more happy. I mean, the other projects that are gonna come. I'm putting it in the air now. They are coming. So, the plenty of characters that represent us. I mean, I'm gonna have, everybody's gonna be.
Bro, you have so many. Like, I'm gonna be writing for days, man. Like, and then we didn't be talking about the outer space stuff yet. Once we get to outer space,
we haven't even gotten into the galaxy heroes.
No,
see,
like I remember we had for a solid, what was like 6 months, like back and forth every day. Like giving me ideas. I'm like writing up bios and sending it to Anthony, sending it to him, and then like we just like trading stuff off. Okay, take this out, put this in. Okay, change this, change that. Just like it was a constant work environment, and it's like we came with like tons and tons of characters.
Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be really, really nice to see like how they play out in the stories, because you have like ideas for stories that you want to do like down the line to see how the characters like interact and like how the dynamics are going to change. He has some really cool villains too, because it's very strongly influenced by Egyptian mythology, which is going to be a lot of fun. I remember we came up with this one character. What was her name? Omen. I cannot wait.
Oh yeah,
for her to come out. She's going to be freaking dope, man. I can't wait. I'm the most excited about her because this is like crazy backstory that it's going to be really, really nice.
Yeah, because I mean, I just want it to work.
Yeah,
and, I did my research before I did a lot of these characters too, because Blind Spot. Blind Spot happens to be she's Indian.
Right.
So I wanted, something that, Indian women could probably relate to. So
yeah, of course.
Asking some questions to Indian women and found out that what their national martial arts is. I forgot the name, but
there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, but she's a girl in a room full of guys all the time. She's got 4 other older brothers. They're all fighters and everything else. So she grew up tough. But through some unfortunate accident, she's blinded. But I don't want to give out too much because I want
yeah. This is a little sprinkle. That's it. So you get
But it's going to be exciting, and we're working on characters that everybody can identify with. I've even reached out to people of the LGBT community to get some characters there. So because on my former podcast, one of my partners thought I was hating. I was like, I don't want to say gay bashing, but he thought I was hating for the way Mr. Terrific was on The Flash.
Right.
I said, no, I don't like that character. Because Mr. Terrific is listed as the 3rd smartest person on the planet.
In the show wasn't legit to the comic book, Mr. Terrific.
Ooh,
I get your point.
I gave it Flash season 2, so
Yeah, I mean, like after season 2, it gets kind of silly. I stopped watching.
Yeah, because I mean, when he
got great, and then after that is I was like,
yeah. And when I brought up that point about Mr. Terrific on was it Arrow? Yeah, it was on the Arrow the Arrowverse.
No.
I
think I made season 3 of Arrow. I think I got it. Yeah. When it became the Batman show, it became the Batman show when he's fighting Batman villains. I was like, all right, man, I think it's time to go.
Yeah,
that's silly. The first season was solid. After that, it kind of trailed off a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Terrific, there, he's a master of several disciplines. He owns several doctorates.
Right. Batman
bought his company. So I'm like, this is an important dude, especially for young black males to look into the comic books and see, dude, this is the 3rd smartest person in the world. He said his real superpower is learning.
Right.
Okay, that's something to look up to.
Right, sure.
And you brought him to TV, and he's gay comic relief.
Yeah, it's like
he starts off with an afro this big, but when he puts on the T-mask, it's braided up. How does that happen?
That bugs me out about all this stuff.
I mean,
because
they drop a lot of things with Mr.
Yeah, then they'll say that you have an issue with what? No, I have an issue with how you're representing.
It's a betrayal.
I don't like what you're representing. It's not the fact that they're gay. It's the fact that you got this comic relief type of character, and and I hate the fact that they constantly bring it back to this basic, or you're racist, no, I'm a writer.
No, it's not.
It's a story.
The problem, especially in Hollywood, a lot of these people think that they're these characters are costumes and they're not like real people. Like you can just put anybody in this costume.
That's the problem, man. Source material.
No. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and that was the whole point I was just trying to make. I'm like, when you put a character and you twist it up to please whatever audience, I'm like, okay, that's the same thing we're trying not to do. I'm not trying to please a audience. I want everybody to dig it.
Right, sure. But you're doing it the right way. And I respect that because it's like, even in comic books, like Gay Pride Month is like literally like days away, right?
Yeah.
So when Gay Pride comes, Marvel, DC, they're the first ones to put out like, the Gay Pride books. Yeah. But it's only in June. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So do it all year round. Don't do it just for June.
As long as they don't do what's Safe Space and Snowflake.
Yo, I was so mad when those came out. I was like, what are they
doing? I don't think they were going to release that. I think that was like a joke or.
No, that was released.
That was real.
That was horrible.
That was 4 issues, man. Those released.
Not physically.
I was like,
physical.
No.
As I say, dude, you are going to get a demonstration in front of Marvel offices right now.
You, man, it was terrible.
He's like, what is this? Okay, what is this?
But the thing is, like, Marvel is catering to an audience that didn't ask for it in the first place. That's what bugs me out. Is like they're just doing it just because we think they want it, so we're going to do it. No, man, listen to your fans.
Here's what bugs me out. Definitely Marvel and DC are looking for us, our generation, the ones who still buy comics, the ones who are wasting money.
Right.
And that's what they're trying to talk. They're trying to look at us. And then they go, we're going to talk to those people. I'm like, those people aren't buying comics. Those people aren't,
they don't care.
They could care less. Oh, look, there's a gay character.
They
Yay!
don't care. They really
and then they don't buy the book.
They look at it, they put it down and keep it walking because they don't
exactly.
care.
Yeah, you'll be happy about it that they're there, but you didn't do anything else to grab them.
Exactly. And then the other thing, especially here, we like to talk about the fact that you have to pull the support. You have to, support these things. If you want to see these things, you got to support them. You can't just like leave them in the air. You
can't make like vacant demands and like not support it when it happens. You know what I mean? Because then it's like it's not going to happen.
And that's kind of unfair because now you're messing with the fans like the stuff, and you're changing their books, and they don't care about that stuff, so they're not going to buy it.
I mean, it's just like all these gender swaps and all these racial changes. Like when they made Wally West black, I was like, why? There was no need for that.
It made no sense at all. It's like, okay, you're doing stuff to please people. Put a good character out there.
It's an empty gesture. It doesn't mean anything. They don't mean it. That's the problem. It's like when it comes to sexuality.
That's not Wally West. That's Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
I see what you did.
Don't do that.
I'm still upset.
It was the homosexual.
Wally West is homosexual character. So I'm still upset that they went, okay, Barry Allen, we're gonna bring you back. No, I like Wally West as the Flash. He's a better Flash. Leave him alone.
Me and Ruff always talk about this online. It's like, I get why they brought Hal Jordan back because those Hal Jordan fans would never shut up. They're like, bring him back. I get it.
Hal Jordan's the best answer.
They never stop. But with like Flash, most people accepted Wally as Flash. Most people were fine with it. But the only reason Barry Allen well, I grew up with Barry as Flash, so I'm gonna bring him back anyway, and that's what they did.
It all goes back to what you're saying, Jeff. You need to build this up. You need to bring it from somewhere else. You want the right representation. You don't want a caricature of a representation, which is I feel like that's what I feel like Hollywood wants to do is a caricature of a representation.
That's a good point.
And you can't do that because I mean that's it's just backwards. It's backwards. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It doesn't push the envelope for comics. You basically trying to shut the door, because I mean, soon, like, how many actresses and actors were hating Marvel movies now, and like now we're hitting a dent in some of the movies, with what's going on with Hollywood and some of these actors that getting in trouble and this and that, and like now all these like, oh, it's time for us to let's do what's my man James Cameron, he wants to do another epic movie that's going to take another 10 years for him to complete. I'm like,
I mean, it's just like he's the biggest one. He's always criticized about the Marvel movies. It's like, bro, it's like I understand he makes these epic movies, cool, but don't discredit the movies because like these are like legit stories, and I know that people take time and care, and like these are years and years of development. These stories are like 70, 80 years old. Put some respect on it.
But it's so funny because I feel like Avatar is a comic book movie to me. So
100%,
it is.
100% comic book movie.
Whether he wants to
blue people, man, come on.
I mean, the Terminator movies, all.
Yeah, Ferngully's not that far removed from a comic book, so exactly. It's basically what it is.
Like, so you really believe that there's a world of blue people that like 7 feet tall and everything else? I'm like this. Oh, okay, James.
Right.
Yeah. The mineral they can't obtain is unobtainium. That's like that,
Yeah.
It's like that's like a adamantium came up with it. Unobtainium. Like, okay, all right.
And I'm like, the other character he had that wanted to take the world for himself. I'm like, and my man who was the sergeant looked like Brian from what's the kung fu game? Damn. I'm drawing a blank tonight, but you know what I mean.
You're the only one, brother.
Join the crowd.
Me too.
But like, I was, so glad that, I got introduced, things came together, with Dennis, with Anthony and with Travis. Travis, we met, I interviewed him for my podcast back in the day. And so when I asked him, when I talked about lettering, he's like, dog, I'll do it. No problem. I got you,
Right.
And that was just from kindness because he had his comic book company and nobody was reaching out to him. And I did. And I had him on the show. And then he started, doing his thing. So, I mean, it's all about relationships, being kind to each other. And like I said, Dennis, I'm still learning. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest with you. I'm just making stuff up as I go. So you're not alone. You're not by yourself.
Yeah, but I
just
mean,
show up and hope they spell my name right. So don't worry about it.
That's all. And I want to make this, a thing that we could all, be a part of. And quite frankly, my real name is not Jeff Strange. But anyway, I want this for something that we can all share.
Right.
I came up with the concept and everything else, but it wouldn't be done without the help of these three men.
Like I said, man, it's like we all working together to make something, come to life. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? And I respect you so much because it's like because you remind me a lot of myself when I started out. When I started out, I was a nobody, man. It's like I was writing my phone number on bar napkins to find an artist because I have business cards. You know what I mean? So it's like from humble beginnings, it's like you learn, you network, and like you build up. And now it's like, I know a couple of people, and things are a little easier for me now. You know what I mean? Like I could put a creative team together like that, just from my Facebook list alone. So it takes time, but I think everybody gets there, but you have to work hard for it. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to work hard.
No, and I mean, and this is something I know can be around for a long time.
Sure.
This is definitely gonna be around for a long time, and it doesn't feel like work when we're doing it.
No, man, because it's coming from the heart, man. It's like because you legit have like a heartfelt story that you want to share with the world, and I respect that, and I want to help you do it.
And I mean, I'm drawing a lot of some of the situations from my own life. I'm a storyteller by nature, so it's like, but writing is a different animal.
Right.
I can write poetry, I can write this and everything else, but writing a story, it takes a special hand, and I didn't want to, it just come out corny.
Right. I get it. It's a delicate balance. I don't always have the right words all the time either, but I try my best. I mean, that's all you can do.
Yeah, and it's everybody has a story to tell, and you helping me tell it right, and like I said, thank you, brother.
Man. I mean, like you give me a lot to work with too. It's not like I'm just like making it up. Like you're giving me like the points that you want to hit and all the details. That makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, what would you both of you say would have been the most surprising thing in terms of the process for this book?
I don't know, man. You know what, Jeff? I'll take it. Want me to take this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the first meeting that we had when all those people showed up at the bar? We had a meeting about like what you want to do.
Yeah.
How many people was there? It was like at least 10, 12 people, right?
Yeah.
How many people stayed?
Not too many.
It was just me, you, and Anthony.
Yeah.
And then Travis came later, and it was like, you know what? We don't need them. We're gonna work together. We're gonna make this happen.
Because everybody's all excited about it when it first happens, but then when the actual work starts to show up, they're like,
yeah, it's a real thing. When people swear that comic books are easy, comic books are not easy, man. Comic books will chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
If you don't put in the time, if you don't like really take this seriously, like a real job, you're not gonna make it. You're gonna fail. See, I know a lot of people in this business. They made one comic book, and that was it. That's all they can make.
And it's the same thing with crowdfunders and Kickstarters.
Yeah,
everybody thinks it's easy. Everybody thinks, "Oh, I'll do this." It's so easy.
Man,
and I'm like, dudes, you guys don't understand how this stuff works. And then they think that when you're actually making money off of these things.
What? Man,
I'm like, no,
who amazes me with Kickstarter is Brian Polito. Brian, he gets funded like immediately. It's freaking crazy. You ever see his Kickstarters?
Yeah.
Like within less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? It's insane.
Yeah.
But Brian's a cool dude, man. I've known Brian for a long time. He's like very cool, very down to earth, very, very much like he's about this life. Like he's really into it. He's been doing it for years. I respect him so much.
So let me ask you this, since we're talking crowdfunder and Kickstarter, there's a difference between both of them. And I know, Jeff, you decided to go with crowdfunder. And Mark Torres, who did his book a while back, went with crowdfunder for that same reason, where, it's you don't lose everything if you don't fund.
Yeah,
So why did you go with it?
That was one of the main factors why I went with that, because I mean, I want to see these guys get paid for their efforts. Right. I'm the last one to get paid. I'm the last one to get paid. I want to make sure, I don't want to say like, yeah, this is my team and everything else, but I'm part of that team, and I want to make sure they get paid first, because they put in their hard work listening to this, my ideas and making it a reality. So the least I could do is make sure they get paid right. Because like I said, like we talked about earlier, the horror stories behind the scenes of, what character made. And, I mean, look at Bill Finger and Bob Kane.
Yeah, that was rough, man. I think, what was that? What movie was it? I think it was maybe Batman vs Superman. That was his first movie.
That was the first time in a movie that.
And like, how many Batman movies came out? Like, come on, man, let's be real. And both Finger about
since 1930.
I was actually surprised to see that.
Yeah, because you never hear about Bill Finger. It's all about Bob Kane. Bill Finger wrote all those characters.
And going back to my podcast, I had a dude, God bless him, he just passed a couple of weeks ago. He came on the podcast and he was blasting Bob Kane, Stan Lee, and a few other people. What's the other guy that everybody hates at Marvel that started Image?
Take your pick. Liefeld, Rob Liefeld.
But I mean, he talked about them like these dudes were.
People hate Jim Shooter, but he didn't start Image. He did Valiant, Jim Shooter.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I always heard like everybody hated Jim Shooter, and some of the stories that he came across, that he helped create. Everybody was like, this guy sucks, But I mean, I don't want to be part of those horror stories. Right. I don't want to be part of I don't want my name involved in any cheating artist out of a character. I stole this. I stole it. I have a very good imagination. Like I said, I have 30 characters waiting to go, and everybody's got like at one point I had made my own version of an X-Men team, right? But I didn't want to call it X anything. I had just made everybody's first name start with an X,
right?
That's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, but I still didn't want to do Justice Legion Extreme.
Yeah, man, that's way too close to Justice.
That's Legion, just blatant like this. I'm taking this.
I think there's what's funny to me is I think there's a JLX team. I forget what they were called, but I know there's a JLX team.
Yeah, the Amalgam Universe.
That's what it was. Ringing a bell to me.
But did you see that? He tried to do that, and I'm like, "This, I don't think you ought to do that."
You see that Spider-Boy exists now? Because Spider-Boy was originally Superboy and Spider-Man.
No, he's always existed. He's been there all throughout every timeline. He's just been there.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been there. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay. He's always been there. I mean, it's the same exact thing they did with Sentry. It's not even an original idea. Sentry was like, "Hey, don't you remember me?"
Yeah, I've been here all the time.
I was here all the time. Remember?
I mean, it's very, very hard to come up with original characters these days because it's like Marvel and DC were ripping off each other for years. Like you have Thanos, you have Darkseid, you have Sentry, you have Superman. It's all the same, man. Just have to give it a little twist and hope for the best. That's all you can do,
man.
Yeah. And I mean, like when I first did Hard Case, I'm saying to this dude, he just straight, he's just a black Batman with a Luke Cage twist. And damn, dude. I'm like, okay. I said, but everybody borrows.
I mean, unless you was born in the 40s, all the characters are the same, man. Unless you came with Superman, you ain't doing much.
And then, the dude eating, I don't know what he's doing now, but I haven't seen him since that day. Right. And I didn't block him. So the crazy part about it is like, when I said, well, where's your comic book? People that, how's the saying go, people that can't do, teach.
Yep.
I mean, he can't do, so he decided to be a critic and just,
talk
about everybody else.
Dude, I always talk the most. It's like, people say, you can't make a comic book. All right, watch me.
And I'm like, dude, where's yours? or you still, sitting in your mom's basement putting your name on the orange juice. Or
you just gotta focus on like the positive people. The people who say you can't do it, don't listen to them. Just keep it moving forward, man. That's what I do.
And when you spit that much venom out of your mouth, I'm like, come on, man. You're trying to do a decent comic book.
The negative people are the loudest sometimes, but there are people the people that like stuff, they just like it, they quietly buy it, and there's a lot of people like that, But the negative people are the loudest, and sometimes you think that's the only voice in the room. It's not, There's a lot of positive people out there.
Yeah, just gotta focus on that. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So how would you go about telling, or maybe even just coaching someone into creating their own original character? Like how would you do it?
Me or Jeff?
Both of you.
Okay, Jeff, you go first. Let's take the last one.
All right. I would definitely say, like, look in the mirror and add your own twist to it. I mean, if because like Strange is, basically a form of me, but I added some things into it, because, the talisman he found is basically going to make him like the ultimate, but he has his own personal quirks about it, which I lived through. So, you could take some pieces of yourself and you've got to have a thick skin. You want to have to, be able to laugh at yourself, be able to, make fun of yourself. And, you can't, there's going to be a lot of no's out there, but you got to stick with the game until you hear a yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll go. Listen to the voices in your head.
I do that.
That's the best advice I can give you, because it's like the characters are there. This is the really shut up and listen. They're talking to you all the time. We have all this background. You have you have like cars driving by, people talking to you, all this other stuff. You tune that out and actually just shut up and listen. The characters tell you who they are, what they're about, where their goals, what they want, and that's what you write down, and that's what you develop.
Yeah, and like one character that's part of Karma's past. A martial arts master, I called him Master Bent. Mm-hmm. And that was from seeing he wasn't homeless. It was just a older Asian man who his back seemed to be messed up, but his arms looked crazy strong.
Right.
So I figured, and I just took that idea to watching him, and I made a character out of him.
Yeah. It's when I was like the smallest thing, like you're walking down the street, you look in the store window, you see like a jacket, or you see like, an article of clothing, like you kind of like start piecing the story together based on that object.
Yeah.
And you develop a character that way. I do that. I do the 2 train. Do you know how many characters are on the 2 train?
There's a lot of characters on the 2 train.
Let me tell you don't even need to get on the train. You could just sit on the platform.
Exactly.
Very true.
So everything is observe and pay attention, man. The characters will come to you. It's not that hard.
Yeah, there's a character I'm working on, and I'm saying on the podcast, but I'm not worried about anybody trying to take it. I called him the Vagrant, and that was from.
You told me about him actually.
And I was looking at a poncho, but it was like a military poncho.
Right. I remember you telling me about that.
And I was just looking at this poncho, but the way it was shaped, I said, this would be a dope character if somebody would do this. And then I came up with a story and everything else, and I told it to Dennis. He's like, yo, that could be worked. And it was not to compare him, but he would be like my Daredevil.
Sure.
Makes sense. And it's
I know a couple of artists who they take just random objects that people send them and they make full characters out of them. So an earring, a spoon, sometimes it's like a weird rock, and they just make full-on characters out of that.
That's cool.
I mean, look at characters like the Tick.
Hilarious. Love the Tick.
Because you kept saying spoon over and over. That's what was ringing in my head.
Nah, man, that's great comic, man. Great cartoon too. It cracks me up as a kid. I was in tears.
Missed that cartoon. That was one.
It was so well done. They had a live action show for a little bit too. I think it was on Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, it had 4 seasons or something.
Yeah, very funny. Very funny. I was going to say something, but I forgot because I'm old.
Well, what I was going to say too, as well as you guys are talking about that creative process. A lot of people, especially when it comes to the writing show, They always ask, oh, Ralph, writing's so hard. I'm like, it's not that hard.
I mean,
mastering writing is hard.
Yeah.
Being a writer is not that hard. You write what you see, you write what you know, you write the stories that come to you because it all comes to you. I think one of the things that people do is they make it more difficult than it is. Again,
complicated.
Becoming a writer, an author, that's the whole other thing. That's you leveling up. But being a writer is something that you just do. It's like you got a story in your head and you put it out there. You see this piece of thing that's over there and you put it out there. And what you guys are talking about here is that concept that I like to say on the show all the time is you can write about anything. It's all up to you to write what you want to write.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, because when I even the logo of the comic book.
Yeah.
I wanted Comix, with the X, and that's just from seeing comics like I think that probably comes from the Fawcett universe, the Wiz comics,
nice.
And that's why the little lightning bolt is on the end, and I made it yellow, and I just said I wanted to pop out. I just wanted to go, and I just said when I worked with the artist that did this, with one of the Fivers, and dude, Fiverr is a lifesaver when you want to get some things out.
Yeah, that's great though. I love the logo.
And when I did that logo, I was just they had it so many 5 different ways, and I was just and I just said, I want it to like a glowing orange, I want world to pop, but strange and comics like this. Okay, like this and like this and like this, and then when we came with that, I was like, I just fell in love. I said,
I remember the night that you showed us logo. Says, I got it. And then you shared it on the group chat. Said, this is it. I was like, yo, this is dope, man. It's great. Love it. And
then had some T-shirts printed up. I had my lady put on one. She was like, like this, baby.
Nice.
It's a great logo. It looks good, and it kind of reminds me of classic comics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the feel I was going.
Old school vibe, man. That's what we're going for.
And it doesn't just remind me of classic comics. That the Strange World aspect of it means, well, maybe it's more than comics.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want to do some stories that reflect real life too. I have an idea for, some real life stories and possibly make something that can, we can donate or help some, fund a cause or something like that,
Right.
And just make some comic books directed straight to that.
Sure. That's a great idea. Pick a charity or something like that.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a dream, and like I said, these guys are helping me realize mine, and why not pay it forward?
Sure, I agree with that. That's a good idea.
Tom, let me ask you this then. So, is this a video that I should play or not?
Well, it's 3 minutes of me, sitting in my house and talking about the comic book. It's on my channel, Strange World Comics, spelled the same way on YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
So your spiel's on here. All right, we'll play it. Let's see what happens.
Is your computer gonna tank?
We'll find out in a minute.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Jeff Strange. Hey, I just wanted to talk to y'all for a minute because most of y'all know me from, I had my podcast, Strange in the Membrane. My first show, The Underground Dugout. Even all through those times.
That's about as well as I thought I was going to go.
Oh, that's fair.
My computer over here it gave us a feel of it at least.
Yeah, and I know I need to do more videos and things like that.
Yes, I've been telling you for months, man.
Yeah, but it's just my job situation is getting ready to change.
Okay,
so I know I'll be able to actually come home and dedicate more time and just hey, what's going on, blah blah blah, and be like Ralph, and like, good morning, it's Strange World.
I gotta tell you, one of the things that I figured out with TikTok is that it's a great place to make promos. I don't care about anything else. I go, hey, I can make promos over here.
There you go.
I mean, Ralph makes like a video like every day almost. Like every day they come up.
Yeah, and you know the show, what's going on. Sometimes if I see a comic book I like or I want to help somebody out, that's what TikTok has turned into for me. Either that or I'll throw some stuff from the conventions on there.
Right.
It's just a lot of catch this and catch that. And me being my old Wolfman Jack self.
There you go.
Wolfman Jack was the greatest, baby.
Exactly. I'm happy you guys understand that because usually I say that and people go, cricket.
Yeah. What's a Wolfman Jack? Is he a supernatural kind of guy? Like,
yeah, man,
man, he had that voice, bro. Whew.
One of a kind for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's another thing with me. You know, radio was the first love. You know, as a kid, radio, comic books, and hip hop. That's all I had.
There you go.
You know, and that's why I have a concept for a hero that's a DJ. I have two different heroes that are DJs. You know,
that's dope, man. I really like how you your imagination. Like, you're not scared to try anything, which I like.
You have to. I mean,
you try different things. You make my job very, very fun.
Like one day I was like, I think it was at Central Park or something. Yeah, it was Central Park, and I saw an owl. I made a character out of that, and the way the eyes were and everything else, and I was like, and then for some reason there was a poster somewhere, and underneath like layers of the poster was the crow. So Brandon Lee was like the template for like how I want this guy to look. Like he's slim, quick and fast, and I'm like, he's wearing a trench coat, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna leave him like that.
That's cool, man.
That's the whole thing. Sometimes we don't let our imaginations run away with us, especially when it comes to comics.
That's the whole job, man. That's what we hear.
Like people take comics way too seriously, and I feel like it's the whole movie aspect of comics, or I don't know. I know that I've been thinking about this for a while, but about actually doing a show about it. It's this realism in comics, and I'm like, it's comics. Stop with this realism in comics.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people are almost like they're trying to do like screenplays for movies and stuff, and like you don't have to.
It's not the same, man.
Whatever you do, it's a comic book. If you want a dinosaur to come in a time machine and start breakdancing like Michael Jackson, you can do it. As long as you can draw it, you can do it.
That's a good comic book. I would write that. Actually, that sounds like fun.
Well, that's not going to work in a movie, so.
Listen, we know you're excited for JoJo Part 6, but you don't need to go down the JoJo route.
Oh yeah, look at JoJo. That's you can do anything in JoJo because it's a comic. I mean,
people swear like we make money making comic books. We do it because we love it.
And that's the thing that would hate with some people. Like, why you gotta dissect it and take it apart and see how it works? What happened to just fantasy?
Sure.
You just dug it because that's the way it was.
Exactly.
Okay.
Realism.
When he threw the karate kick, you saw the guys with the strings and everything else. You saw it and everything else, but I mean, it was still dope.
Oh, it definitely was dope. That's why you would run outside with your friends and kick each other's butts.
Exactly. How many kids Saturday night drive-in theater? You watch the comic book, kung fu flicks at 3:00.
Man, listen,
that was over at
5:00.
5:00. You outside. Man, you saw the way Priest by man was.
That's fine across the screen. It was perfect.
No more.
I think it was like Sunday on Channel 5, like all day. It was the kung fu movies. We didn't pay attention to the story, but my brother was just fighting the whole time.
Exactly.
It's like, yo, man, that was like. Wait a minute,
Yep.
that wasn't supposed to happen. Stop.
I don't blow your noses.
It really hurts. I have to call my mother.
Oh, that's a real move.
And you sit there like this. I got powers. Like when you realize when your mother had powers too, it's like if you
that chancla power was powerful.
Yeah, what did I see the other day was like all these guys. It was like six guys, and the white guy. I'm not. No, it's not racial.
Oh, I saw that on the skit. Oh my god!
Yeah, with the five mothers with their chancletas and the slippers, and they all like some Power Rangers, and they just threw the slippers, and then the white guy comes back in and says, you guys can sue. They all like, dude,
shut up. You're the one that got us in trouble.
He said, dude, we all just got beat up by slippers. Okay.
They're not supposed to do that. This is your space, man.
Yeah, that was a great video.
Your space,
oh my
bro.
god!
Like, dude, shut up.
We had no space as kids. No, like
your mother will walk into the room. You got the door closed. What you doing?
She walked to the room. The door was open. She threw it from the next room. You didn't see that shit coming.
Yeah, you sit there like, okay, I'm gonna make his arm a little longer here.
Exactly. Oh man!
I knew she had powers.
Exactly. And they never missed either.
Never. Hell no. Deadly accuracy, like Deadshot would be like this. Yeah, I was on point.
My favorite was you jump under the bed and you're like, I'm safe, and that thing still hit you.
Still coming.
All right, so Jeff, let everybody know where they can find you, all the good stuff. Go for it.
Okay, well, Jeff_Strange on Instagram, also Strange World Comics, all one word, and with an X at the end of Comix on Instagram. You can find the same name and everything else on Facebook. If anybody under 30 is still using Facebook.
Well, we use Facebook, so
yeah,
but you're not under 30.
Yeah,
no, I haven't been under 30 in a long time.
Yeah. Also, I have my internet radio station, which I'm definitely going to be getting back to. Strange Sounds Radio. It's just on autopilot right now. It's just playing songs of yesteryear and things like that. If you like the 90s, because I can't do some of this stuff I hear these days. It's man.
I listen to the whole 80s and 90s nowadays. I can't do like the can't do the auto tune stuff and the floor rider. I can't do that.
I'm like, you call my music nonsensical?
You're looking good. I'm like that now.
Yeah. The website is coming soon. I've already got the name. Damn, why you catch it right there?
That's where the computer decided to catch it. Let's see if it fixes it. There we go.
Yeah, so definitely the website is coming soon. Big shout to Olivia Moore. Her website is One More Solutions, I believe it is. MMOORE Solutions. She's working on the website. I gotta pay her, so we can get it done. Don't worry, Olivia. The check is in the mail.
You got it on video. So.
Oh man. Of course, make sure you go to Crowdfunder. Check out Strange World Comics.
Yes, please check it out.
Crowdfunder.com
exactly.
/Strange World Comics.
Tell your friends to check it out. Tell your cousins to check it out. Your mama, your grandma.
One of the good things about Crowdfunder is that you don't have to join. You can just purchase or do whatever you want to do and not ever join this thing.
Which is great.
Yeah. Makes life easier, especially for us
pressure, no
non-technical people.
And what's so funny, like even with Kickstarter, like I had donated to this other campaign for remote control Batmobile, the BTAS Batmobile.
Nice.
It just came, and I did that in 2019.
Jeez.
But the guys were putting it together, so I'm like, I believe in some of these projects. And I was, when I saw it in the mail, I'm like, the mailman handed me this package. Yeah, it's this. I'm like, Kickstarter. Oh, this is the Batmobile. Damn, it just got
Kickstarter
here.
is like Christmas because the stuff shows up when you least expect it.
Yeah, exactly. You forget about it, then it shows up.
Yeah, it's like,
that's what I like. It's like every time something shows up, it's like, ooh, it's time to unwrap my present. Because you never know what it is either.
And I'm like,
you're like, I supported this and this. What is this?
Yeah, like even what was it? I forgot the Lumberjacks, JAX. That comic book just came, and that guy's been working on his project for however long. I just got that comic book, so I mean, it happens.
It takes time, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
because sometimes it takes time. Sometimes I like a lot of the books that I like the most are the ones that are already ready to go. But that means that they've already put out a lot of the money from their own pockets.
Sure, yeah.
Because I mean,
I'm fine as long as I'm like kept in the loop and you give me updates. I'm usually fine. I don't like when it's like go silent. It'll be like 3 years and then hey, here's your product. Going, huh? Like okay,
yeah.
My man Robert Jeffrey.
You keep me in the loop. We're good.
Yeah, like my man Robert Jeffrey when he first did his comic book. I donated because I believed in it. And I saw it later, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I saw him at Comic-Con. It wasn't like he was trying to duck and dive, like, "Oh, I got Jeff $5." He gonna be mad. Like
that must be an interesting feeling, though. You got a Kickstarter, it's in the works, and then people see you at conventions. People must have come up to you and go, "Dude."
Like, where my book at, man?
It's like Goofy. Coming. Where's my money?
Yeah. And you got to be like, running from Debo or something like that. Like, what change?
All right, Dennis, where can they find you? Because, we want to know where we can find you. Because we want the book.
I'm on Facebook, Dennis Knight. That's my name. I have a writing page, The Night Writer, I think it's called. I'm on TikTok, who is Dennis Knight. I'm on IG, DEE Night Writer. And I'm on Twitter. My handle is Mr. Night Writer. My next event is going to be Eternal Con in July 8th and 9th. I'll probably most likely be at Comic Book School with Buddy Scalara.
I was wondering, because I know we talked about it, and you weren't sure if you were going to table or not.
Yeah, no, I'm not tabling. I'm just going to hang out with Buddy, do some panels. Okay. I'm actually building a website myself, so I'm going to build the content for my website that day walking around. I'll probably bump into you over there.
Oh, that's definite. We're already making plans. So
yeah, so I think that's about it for me.
And Eternal Con is in July. We're supposed to go. We're actually going to have an Eternal Con show the week before Eternal Con. So, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, definitely.
And Dennis, if you want to come on the Eternal Con show, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, definitely. I think that'll be great because I think I'll have a better idea because we're kind of spitballing panel ideas now. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have a meeting on Saturday to kind of finalize everything. So once I have a finalized list of panels, I could go on the show, let you guys know where we're going to be and all that fun stuff.
And I've been trying to get Buddy on the show, so maybe I'll get him for the Eternal Con show.
Let him know, definitely.
All right, folks, there you have it. Dennis and Jeff are working on some strange stuff, and you guys should go check that stuff out. Strange World Comics. It sounds great just by me saying it. So, can you imagine how good it is?
There you go.
Oh yeah,
best commercial ever.
Yeah, and I mean, thank you, Ralph, man, because I had just tweeted, which also my Twitter is @ComicsStrange, spelled the same way you see it there. I just say I need to do some podcasts, So I mean, I'm on Matchmaker.fm. You're a podcaster, you want to interview some guys about comic books, come find me.
There you go. And it's always important to share and check out these guys trying to share and make their wares happen, because comics are an amazing platform. And like I said, nobody's making money. Nobody's making money off of Kickstarter. Nobody's making money off of crowdfunding. Well, the big guys are. Those are the big guys.
Right.
Anybody else trying to get their projects out there. Started. Exactly. It's just trying to get their projects out there.
Yeah.
And you give them the money, and they're just going to put it back into the book to give you another book.
Right.
Exactly. We all still got jobs.
Exactly. Oh, man. I think, let's see. Who do we got up here? Of course. Yes, our pal Frank is... Yeah, it's right here. Let's see. Yeah, this is a good one. It's Sex Night. Yes.
Hey,
they're already funded. It's 3,798, which is where they are right now. 168 backers, 48 hours to go. Dude, we got to help these guys out. Dude, who doesn't want a story about the fact that this couple here is trying to just have a good night? And of course, everything that can go wrong goes wrong because we all know about this.
I've been there many times.
He told me about the story, and I was like, "Oh my god, this just makes so much sense." And he's like, "It's not as raunchy as you think it is because it's just all the hijinks that happen when you're just trying to have an intimate night with your loved one."
Right.
Mommy, why are you making that noise?
Exactly. Let's see. We also have our pal Phil Russert working on his tragedy book. This is the 5th.
I was talking to Phil yesterday. Tragedy is a great story. I actually read a couple of issues. Very, very well done. Very well written.
Dude, I'm on issue 8 because he gave me like a little heads up, and I was like, damn.
Issue 8? Issue 8?
Issue 8. Dude,
no, Phil is a savage, but you don't understand. Like, this guy, he works and he just like makes comics. That's all he does.
That's pretty much it, yeah. He's doing he's at 4,315, 103 backers, 21 days to go. He still has plenty of time. Let's give him some more money.
He's the best. No, Phil
is actually going to put it right back in.
Dude, man. I talk to him like almost every day.
Exactly.
Dude, talented, down to earth, very humble, very honest. So support him if you can, please. He's great.
Yeah, and he'll hit Phil up, Jeff, because he might put you on his show.
Okay.
No, for real. You should ask him.
Tongue-tied.
You know what I mean.
It happens.
Phil will send you your comics so fast, man. I think he's the quickest almost to go sending out. You'll get your
working on a deal right now.
Yeah, so
to make it a little easier.
Give it a couple of weeks, you get your stuff like real quick.
Oh, that's what I like about Phil. It's like the book it ends and you get the book like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's very fast.
It's fast.
Let's see. Of course, you also have Rob Powers. He's doing his Cataclysm book. Go check that out. Cataclysm looks fantastic. And of course, our pal from Corrupt Moon is doing his book as well. Go check both those Kickstarters out. Help them out. Help them fund. That's what's important. We help the people fund. Once they fund, help them some more, because the only way that we know what's going on is usually, like I like to say, you double the person's money and then they can relax a little bit. That doesn't mean they made any money. They just means they can relax a little bit.
Yeah, very true.
This is about getting the book out. I want to get it.
That's the goal, man. That's what we want. We want other people to look at what we've worked on, and we really care about this book. It's really important to us. We just want to share it with everybody. That's what
exactly.
Yeah. Now, Ralph, maybe you can answer this. Do you happen to know what the payout is with Comixology? Because I remember Dennis and I talked about that. I think it's a 50-50 split. Not sure. But I've even asked them, and I haven't gotten an answer back yet.
That sounds like Comixology. Ever since Amazon bought Comixology, it's gotten weird. Not a bad weird, just a weird, like, where's my information?
Right.
I think you're right. I think it's 50-50. I'll see if I can hit up some of them, because I know some people that are on Comixology. I'll hit them up for you and see if I can get the information for you.
Okay.
Because I feel like Comixology has fallen down to the wayside because Amazon took it over.
Yeah, it's not as popping as it used to be. That's for sure.
Because
even on their own thing, they were bigger.
Because I even someone put me on to Indie Planet.
Right.
Yeah, I use Indie Planet actually.
But and Indie Planet is actually a subsidiary of Kablam, because I was like, oh, maybe I can use Kablam. It's like, oh,
yeah,
Kablam, and I was like, that's cool, because I did Kablam too. I got a Kablam T-shirt,
Yeah, they're really good for print on demand. Like, they can print you whatever number of copies that you want. You have to make a big commitment, which I like.
Yeah, but to get it out there, I'll put it on Indie Planet too.
Here's the thing that you might want to look out for. Some Kickstarters, what they do is, if in their stretch goals or when they get to certain points, they go, well, if we get to this point, we will give this digital copy of this comic as part of the stretch goals. So you might want to team up with some of these other Kickstarters and see and give have your digital version.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
Cross promotion. We promote that
Exactly.
comic. We promote our comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I thought that was a brilliant idea because sometimes you want to keep your you want to keep it alive because it gets stale, especially during the middle. It gets kind of stale, and one of the things I've seen is as long as you keep movement happening, you keep putting new stretch goals in, you keep putting other stuff, keep making stuff happen. That's when you get a little more interaction from people.
Right.
Now, as far as this whole Kickstarter thing, like I did do it on crowdfunder, and what's the guy from Comix Tribe? He was like, "Why are you doing it on crowdfunder?" I'm like, "Well, I just wanted to try it,
Sure.
Now, if it doesn't work out there and I go to Kickstarter, is it like I don't want to be like, oh, you just trying to make money? I'm like, no, I'm really just trying to get this.
No, you're just trying to get the book made. The good thing about crowdfunder is that you don't fail, so you still get the money, and the book's still going to be made because you're dedicated on making the book. So when you go to Kickstarter, one you might want to, which is we tell a lot of the guys who do Kickstarter, you want to do a low funding point. You want to find what's the lowest point where you can actually get the book made. Some people do even lower than that, and then hope that the hope that it makes money. That's why I tell people a lot of times when they fund, that doesn't mean anything. They still need the money they were supposed to have. It's just that now that they're funded, they can keep whatever comes in.
Yeah.
And well, you still got to give Kickstarter. You still got to give Kickstarter their cut. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Kickstarter gets his cut, and that's the other thing that people don't realize. Kickstarter gets his cut. There's a lot of stuff that happens, folks. We keep telling you.
Yeah, man. A lot behind the scenes stuff people don't really talk about. They don't know about unless you win the business.
Yeah. And it's a lot of work.
You don't want to be like this, like, yeah, my comic book is made. Shit. Forgot
exactly. And that's pretty much it. And we all know that because that's how it is, man. It's a love, it's a passion. We want to get it made. But a lot of that money comes from our pocket, and a lot of people think, "Oh, it's on Kickstarter or it's on crowdfunder." You guys made that, but no.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was glad of. Robert Jeffrey, he explained that to me. When I saw him at Comic-Con, he was like, "He's like, yeah, dude, that's just for the comic book." He said, because he was still regular. Had a comic book tee on. Yep. He's still looking regular, like like the rest of us, like all of us right now. It's just like this, like I'm still doing my thing, still got a job, still got this, but I'm doing this too. And I was like, I said, but you look happy.
Exactly. Yeah. Most creators will tell you the same thing. They make their money going from convention to convention, working their butts off to get the books into hands.
Sure. Oh yeah. One guy that I'm sure everybody knows him that said that exact thing, David F. Walker.
Mm-hmm.
He said that. He said, like, man, I do better with these conventions than trying to do stuff here because, not to say he was salty when they, canceled the Nighthawk book that he was writing, but he was just like, dude, I said, I'm here on the comic book circuit and I see the people. That's my audience. And I'm like, that's all right in my book.
Yeah, same.
And speaking of books, go and just sign up now.
Exactly.
Please. Yes.
Please like and subscribe
on crowdfunder. All right, Nat, Tony, what do we got?
Me, let's see what I got. Well, next Monday's Memorial Day, so I won't be doing anything. But the week after that, hopefully to have another type up and talk about all the books I've been reading lately. I haven't talked about the free comic book day books I read, so I'll talk about that. Whatever manga I read, and I'll keep them. So 2 weeks from now, let's say.
I figured you had a big one coming up.
Yeah. Still reading things. That's why it was like I was behind X-Men Red like 6 months. I'm catching up now. Like they went on hiatus for like 3 months. So then now they came back. So well, I better start reading this again. So
yeah, I'm still on this post failsafe thing in Batman. I was like, dude, it's like, big shout to Anyone Comics in Brooklyn.
Oh, those are my people.
Yeah. When I went and talked to him about my comic book, he gave me such, like, I was like, thank you.
Yeah, man. Anyone Comics, they're good people, man. A lot of fun guys over there. Good people. They love.
You're in
comics.
Brooklyn in the Crown Heights area. Go see Anyone Comics.
Yeah, definitely, man. Good
We
story.
all love local comic book stores. Go support them because that's the only way all this stuff keeps going.
Yep.
Yeah, especially a shout out to all my peoples at Midtown. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to say something about Midtown. Isn't that what Tony was today?
Yeah, downtown Midtown. Yeah. My LCS. Well, whenever it's like a limited series or a non-Marvel book, they won't have it. So I have to just go. I get tired of asking sometimes. So I just go over there, and my LCS, like, I pick up my pre-orders there. I get my manga at my LCS though. I get my manga because they're really good with getting my manga. Like when I try to get my manga at Midtown, the thing with manga is that
Why are you getting manga at Midtown?
What happened?
Why are you getting manga at Midtown?
No, I'm getting it from my LCS. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but like that's like a terrible idea to begin with. We got Kuno Kuniya literally just a few blocks away.
Like what's a few blocks away?
Kuno Kuniya.
No. I'm downtown, man. Kuno Kuniya is far from me, man. Kuno Kuniya is far from me.
He's trying to stay in one place, bro. He's not trying to go up
He's always Midtown half the time.
There's all the way in 42nd, man. I would have to take the.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I think it's all the way from.
He ain't going up there.
But I'm getting my LCS. But I get my LCS is working. I mean, the thing with like comic books is like comic books have a strict date that you have to put them out on the racks Wednesday.
Yeah.
The thing with manga is they're not very strict with that date. So as soon as they get them, they'll sell them. And even when you pre-order them and they're supposed to hold it, they don't. So I stopped with them, and then I was getting from Kuno Kuniya for a little while when I was more in the city. When I was more in that area, I'm not really there now, and I was getting them from like Amazon online, but like my LCS, since they're so small and stuff, they were like, yeah, they've been great. They just like get it, hold it for me, and give it to me, and I don't have any problems. So,
Mr. Nat,
I'm gonna finish it anyway.
For me, Fabled Saga, we are literally just a few bits away from getting alternate scripts on the cards signed.
They're doing pretty good, aren't they?
Pretty good. That's understatement.
Of course, it's an understatement. They were already doing pretty good when we saw them the last time.
But very close to getting alternate scripted and alternate artwork cards. Very close. So, yeah, that. Jordan is not here, but I know he wants what's the one? I can't remember.
Nice.
But,
there you go. Fable Saga. It's a card game.
They
are at 399,859. 493 backers, 21 days to go. The art is fantastic on this thing. It's a card game. What else do I have to say?
Pretty fun. The prototype that we do online, pretty fun.
The art,
yeah, but the art's amazing.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yep.
And we know a couple of people doing the art, so it's even better.
We know 2 people.
I thought you were gonna say the names.
There's Alinary, and then the other one is I'm forgetting what the other one is.
And we love Alinary. She does amazing work. Go check it out. It looks fantastic. If you like card games, this thing will be all right. Dude, you like card games? Up your alley. You like art? Up your alley.
Yeah, because that's definitely not everybody's bag.
Exactly. But see, that's the funny thing about card games. Either you're doing it because of the art or you're doing it because of the game. Some people do it for both. But, there's usually a one way or another when it comes to card games. Yeah, I know. I was doing Magic the Gathering, and I wasn't playing the game.
Yeah,
I like the wrong game, man.
Yeah, the early Dungeons and Dragons. I used to collect those because I just thought the artwork was dope.
Exactly, fantastic.
I still got all the 90s the Jim Lee X-Men cards. I still have the whole collection.
Nice.
Back in the day.
No, and you were saying that, Jordan?
I can't remember what Jordan is. There's one. It's the one with the where the comfort doll gets possessed and then goes on a mass murdering spree with a team.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. We'll probably showcase all of his stuff on Monday when we do our Applebite show at 7:30 p.m. Jordan's been a little busy at the moment. We'll just get the list from him so that we can have it at all times.
Now, just one quick question, because I haven't heard back from them yet. I went to a website called GS1 where they create barcodes. And, Dennis, we talked about this a couple of nights ago, too. I wanted a barcode for the book. So in case it, it does go, I put it on Kindle publishing with Comixology and these other websites. So that make sure it goes to me. Right. Now, one site said, don't use an ISBN just yet because a comic book is a serial.
Okay.
But, all right. So I wanted to at least put a barcode. So at least every time that barcode is scanned, it's this, this book. So I'm like, which one do I do? Because they showed several different types. So I'm just like, I don't want to get the wrong one. Like, with the one with there's several different numbers, or there's like a few numbers, another code in the middle, and then the other, it's a whole plethora.
I can see what they're saying with the ISBN because that's the one you want for when you have the book.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do it again, or it kind of messes it up if you do it again.
Yeah.
As for I guess I know which one do the comics have? Do they have ISBN or do they have something else?
I want to say ISBN, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, because I don't think it is. All I know is that when I go to the comic store, they're like beep, beep.
But there's a code on the back, of course. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's ISBN.
It's USPC, USB-C. Yeah. I'm like USB-C. I'm like, no, that's a plug, stupid. I'm like,
you're putting a lot of good questions out there. I have a feeling I'm going to be reaching out to certain people, going, dude.
And and definitely send me that information on the.
Oh, definitely. Don't worry about it. Jeff, Dennis, you guys are more than welcome on the show anytime. Keep talking to me, of course. Man. I'll keep sharing it. And anything else, guys?
No. Comic book nerds unite.
Thank you.
There you go.
Take with 2 E's. That's the name of the artist.
Well, there you have it, folks. This has been the Written Writ. And of course, what happens here on the show when it ends is